Hey guys, it's your buddy Drew with Living History Comes Alive and Living History's Mysteries. I know a lot of you were looking forward to mine and Amy's second video on the Violet Cemetery in Goshen, Indiana. As you can see right here on this map, according to science, we were going to get hit with another hard storm. Amy came all the way over here. She even showed up early, just as I was getting ready to message her and let her know that that was coming at us. She drove all the way back home. She live streamed last night. I joined her on that live stream, and she titled it, "Something Just Don't Want Us There." And you know, I didn't realize until about 10 o'clock last night how true that was. That storm completely dissipated before it got to us. When we decided not to go, we got light rain instead of the severe thunderstorms they forecasted for the Goshen area. But we're not giving up. There are legends in that cemetery. There are myths about that place. And we've already set a date in 2 weeks to go back and try to solve some of those mysteries. Be sure to check it out. Hey YouTube, it's Drew with Living History Comes Alive and Living History's Mysteries. You know, we're always looking for those stories, those myths, those legends that keep us guessing and keep us searching for the answers. I especially love to do stories about my own state of Michigan. I take pride in living in the Wolverine State. It's a great place to live. It's full of great people, and it's full of great history and great mystery. Today, I wanted to do just such a story, but not just on one particular thing. There's a lot of people out there that are constantly out searching these myths, these legends, these urban myths, these urban legends. So I wanted to do a compilation video, something that gives you the option of going out and looking for your choice of urban legend. So stick with us today as we look at 12 urban legends from the state of Michigan, right here on Living History Comes Alive. Stay tuned.
Here are 12 urban legends from Michigan. Enjoy. The Nain Rouge. The Nain Rouge, French for Red Dwarf, is an ominous figure in Detroit folklore. According to legend, Detroit's founder, Antoine de la Mothe Cadillac, encountered a demon-like creature that called itself the Nain Rouge and cursed the entire city. The creature is said to have popped up throughout Detroit's history, usually during tragic events. Sightings were reported during the 1805 fire, which burned almost the entire city to the ground, and during the 1968 riots. In 1976, 2 police officers claimed to see what they thought was a child climbing a utility pole during a brutal snowstorm, only to realize it was the Nain Rouge. In recent years, the Nain Rouge has become a beloved fixture in Detroit. In 2010, citizens began having an annual parade in celebration of the creature, and local wine companies and breweries even made wine and beer in honor of the demonic entity. The Michigan Dogman. The Michigan Dogman was first spotted in Wexford County in 1887 by a pair of lumberjacks who claimed they saw an animal they thought was a dog. Upon chasing down the animal out of curiosity, they discovered it was actually a dog's head attached to a man's body. Other stories followed. A farmer was supposedly found dead near his plow with giant dog tracks surrounding his body. A boat captain and his crew claimed they were attacked by a pack of dogs, only to see one dog stand up on its hind legs. The standing dog reportedly had narrow yellow eyes and a man's body. With time, the Dogman story faded into relative obscurity and might have stayed that way if not for the northern Michigan DJ Steve Cook. In 1987, Cook recorded a song about the Dogman, which became quite popular. This led to increased public interest in the Dogman, and perhaps, due to the power of suggestion alone, more and more residents reported sightings after the song's release. The ghost in the Michigan Bell Telephone Company. According to local lore, the home of the Michigan Bell Telephone Company in downtown Grand Rapids was once a boarding house called the Judd White House, which had a grisly history. The story states a young couple named Warren and Virginia Randall moved into the Judd White House in 1907. At the time, the two were very happy together. In 1908, however, Warren was involved in a mishap at his job with the Indiana Railroad, costing him his leg. Their marriage soon fell apart, as Warren became paranoid and thought Virginia was cheating on him. She ultimately left him, but he eventually convinced her to see him again and lured her back into the Judd White House. Warren then bludgeoned Virginia with his wooden leg before tearing a gas fixture from the wall. As the fumes began to fill the room, he took a straight razor and slit his own throat. Complaints of a terrible odor led to the authorities discovering the bodies. The boarding house was eventually demolished, and Michigan Bell Telephone Company built their offices on the empty lot. While the story isn't found in any official records, many locals believe it to be true. People claim they can still hear the Randalls wailing in the night and the tapping sound of Warren's wooden leg. Madame Modjeska. If you find yourself in the Upper Peninsula, you may want to see a show in Calumet, Michigan's historic Calumet Theater. Home to many local productions, the theater also allegedly houses the ghost of Polish opera singer Madame Helen Modjeska. Modjeska died in 1909, a few years after the theater opened, and had performed there 3 times prior to her passing. Many actors and visitors have reported seeing Madame Modjeska over the years. In 1958, an actress fumbled over her lines during a performance of The Taming of the Shrew. She claimed Madame Modjeska appeared to her on the theater's balcony and mouthed the lines. Technical directors and janitors have also caught glimpse of the ghostly figure. There have also been reports of unexplained music, random cold breezes, and door handles that lock on their own. Mackinac Island's Drowning Pool. Mackinac Island, located in northern Michigan, is a small island that's a major tourist destination throughout Michigan and the Midwest in general. It's also home to the mysterious Drowning Pool urban legend. According to the story, throughout the 1700s and 1800s, 7 women were accused of witchcraft and taken to the Mackinac Island Lagoon for a test. The women then had rocks tied to their feet and were thrown into the waters. If the women were witches, according to local superstition, they could save themselves from drowning. You can still visit the lagoon where the trials allegedly occurred. Visitors report seeing phantom figures and also unusual random splashing in the water. The Melonheads. The Melonheads exist as legend in more than one place, but tales of their presence sprout up throughout Michigan, especially in the Holland-Saugatuck region. Origin stories vary, but many talk about a hospital treating children with hydrocephalus, a condition that causes water on the brain and can lead to an enlarged skull. The Melonheads appear as small figures, the size of children, with large round heads. In some stories, the hospital shut down, leaving the children with nowhere to go, so they began living in the woods. In other stories, the doctor was abusive to the children and they ran away, killing the doctor first in some versions, and took up residence in the forest. Whatever version you adhere to, the end result is Melonhead children and their descendants wandering throughout woodland in western Michigan. Teens that grew up in this area in the 60s and 70s frequently claim to have spotted Melonheads in the woods. The Lake Michigan Triangle. Some say that Michigan has its own version of the Bermuda Triangle, located between Ludington, Benton Harbor, and Manitowoc, Wisconsin. Common creepy occurrences here include shipwrecks, UFO sightings, and missing planes. The disappearance of Captain George Donner of the O.M. McFarland is one of the spookier tales of the triangle. Supposedly in 1937, the freighter was within the triangle when Donner disappeared from his cabin. The cabin was locked from the inside. He was never found aboard the ship, and no one could ever figure out where he'd gone. Another tragedy occurred in 1950, when the Northwest Flight 2501 disappeared over the triangle while traveling from New York to Seattle. The fact that the plane crashed into Lake Michigan is undisputed, but the plane itself was never found. The Paulding Light, also known as the Dogmeadow Light, is a single, bright, unexplained light that has appeared in a valley near Paulding, Michigan since the 1960s. Some have it explained away via ghost stories. In the most popular version, a railroad worker was killed in a collision when trying to use a lantern to alert an oncoming train to cars stopped in the tracks. Others attribute the light to extraterrestrials. A group of Michigan Tech students in 2010 gave a more reasonable explanation. They said they were able to recreate the light if a car with its headlights on was driven along a specific spot on US 45. The Ada Witch. An old legend revolves around a cemetery in Ada, Michigan, where folks say you can encounter the Ada Witch. According to the story, sometime in the 1800s, a man discovered that his wife was there. After catching her in bed with another man, he murdered her and then attacked her lover. The men fought so violently, they both ended up mortally wounded and died. The woman in question became known as the Ada Witch and is believed to be buried under a broken tombstone in Finley Cemetery. People say they can hear the sounds of two men grappling and can sometimes even see the ghostly apparition of the Ada Witch, who appears as a woman in white. Legend says she hangs out by her own grave frequently. However, the grave in question likely does not belong to a murdered adulteress. Evidence suggests the grave belongs to a woman who died of typhoid in 1870 at the age of 29. Eventually, a company donated a new stone to place over the grave. The Holly Hotel. The Holly Hotel in Holly, Michigan is a historic hotel that survived two fires. One on January 19, 1931, and the second January 19th, 1996. The fires were exactly 65 years apart, and this has led to superstition that the hotel is targeted by supernatural forces. Some guests report the smell of cigar smoke, attributed to the hotel's original owner, who was a big cigar smoker. The scent of perfume supposedly indicates a visit from Nora Kane, a perfume-wearing woman who loved music when she was alive. Some say they can still hear her humming or singing a melody as a spirit. There's also a little girl who haunts the kitchen. Luckily, if you are planning a stay, all the hotel's spirits are supposed to be benevolent. The Snake Goddess of Belle Isle. The Snake Goddess of Belle Isle allegedly haunts the island park on the Detroit River. According to legend, the Ottawa chief named Sleeping Bear tried to protect his beautiful daughter from her hordes of suitors by throwing a blanket over her canoe and sending her up the Detroit River. The wind, a conscious entity also taken by Sleeping Bear's daughter's beauty, blew her blanket away and set her canoe downriver. Unfortunately, she was kidnapped during her journey, but the wind intervened and rescued her again. It then sent her back home to Sleeping Bear. Sleeping Bear decided to put her on Belle Isle and requested the spirits protect her. The spirits complied by surrounding the island with snakes and granted Sleeping Bear's daughter the ability to transform into a white doe to avoid capture. From then on known as the Snake Goddess, she was also granted immortality, and Belle Isle visitors still claim to catch a glimpse of the snowy white deer today. Pressie. Similar to Loch Ness, Pressie is an aquatic monster said to roam Lake Superior. Also known as the Lake Superior Serpent, she is said to reside in the Presque Isle River, where it meets Lake Superior. Unfortunately, Pressie has not been spotted in several decades. Pressie was described as a serpent-like creature with an extremely long neck and jawline. A sighting occurred in 1977 when a couple took a picture of what he thought was a giant serpent in the lake. However, the picture was far too blurry to verify anything. In 1981, a group of children in Munising claimed to see a massive serpent with high humps emerge from the water. In the 90s, a story circulated of fishermen witnessing Pressie pull a deer underwater, leaving its severed head behind. Well, what about you? Have you ever seen a mysterious creature when you visited Michigan? Or have you feared your own backyard because of these tall tales?
Welcome back. I'm glad you guys sat back and joined me for this look at 12 urban legends from my state of Michigan. Michiganders take pride in our legends and our myths, the same as people do from every state in our country. Some of them are based in fact. Some of them, they're just told to us as children to make us behave, to keep us out of the woods, to keep us out of trouble. And those stories move from generation to generation to generation. It's amazing to look at our state, our individual states, and find those myths and legends, those unanswered questions. And frankly, I love going out and trying to find the answers. And I'm sure you do too. What am I hearing? Anyway, that's all I've got for you guys today. Thank you for sitting back and joining me for 12 urban legends from the state of Michigan. As you've seen throughout the video, right above the top, I put the email down for Living History Comes Alive. so you could send your states, your vicinities, urban legends to me. And if I can find all the information on them, I'll do a video on them, and I'll even make sure everybody knows what state they come from and who sent the suggestion in. But that's it, guys. As always, I'd like to ask you to please like, share, subscribe, comment. Definitely, definitely ding that little bell. That way you'll know when new videos come up, and we prove time and time again, you never know what we're going to talk about. So until next time, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you, God love you, we do. And we'll see you on down the road.